Okay, activity 3.4 in A0, using variables in MathCAD. So we're told first of all to locate the file 121A004. So we go to File at the top, Open, and then you will have to find in your own computer where these chapters and these topics have been saved. I found mine here, select it and open it, and I get this spreadsheet or the worksheet number 4, using variables. And in this there's 3 different tasks. So let's have a quick look through it. The first thing they mention is that in MathCAD there are many ways of doing something, which is something you'll get used to. And there are various toolbars. If we go to View at the top there and click on View, the first thing you see is Toolbars, and there you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then you've got these other things as well. So there are many toolbars here, and we have to choose the one that we want, which is Math, which is already selected, so that's okay. So I'll go somewhere outside. If you want, given the toolbar, Math toolbar is in fact this one. They've shown you the picture here, and it actually appears on my menu at the top here, and there's a line at the far end which, sorry, trying to get hold of it. Let's get rid of that thing. That's to do with my tablet. Yeah, there you are. I can get hold of this and move it wherever I like, and it appears there. I can make it wider if I want to. I can make it long and thin if I want to. But it is basically the same toolbar, and you can either have it floating here as we have it, or you can have it on the top as you wish. The reason why the Math toolbar is quite useful is because there's a lot of different things in there. If we have a look at what's in there, we've got the calculator, we've got graphs, we've got vectors and matrices, we've got what we call evaluation, calculus. So it's a collection of the most useful tools and toolbars that you would need. So it's quite a handy one to have floating on the right hand side rather than having to go up to the top of the page every time. So it says we've got the toolbar, then we're clicking down here. Let's scroll down and see. We've got it in a convenient spot. The first button gives you the calculator. So if I click on that hard, then a calculator pops up, and it can be used in the same way as an ordinary calculator. So if I want the square root of 121, I look for the square root sign. So first of all, if I click inside here where there's space to work, and now square root of, well, type in 121 and then equals. I can either type equals on the keyboard, or I can go to the right hand equal sign here, and it gives me the answer 11 straight away. Next, notice it says if you keep the mouse arrow over a toolbar button, then it shows you what it is, as I said. Let's move on. So defining a variable is the first task. The definition button is shown like that, and you can see that on the bottom left hand side of the calculator. Now the other way of getting a definition is to use the keyboard, and for that we use the colon, which is the symbol above the semicolon. So you'd have to use Shift and semicolon in order to obtain the colon, or you select from the calculator the same symbol here. So let's see. If I want to define x, I want to let x have the value of 2.5. I write x, then the definition button, and then 2.5, or x colon 2.5. Notice this is assigning the value 2.5 to x. It's different from using the equal sign that I had over on the right hand side of my calculator, which works out a calculation. It evaluates numerically what the answer to a calculation is, whereas the definition button assigns a value to a variable. So let's define a variable called r to have a value of 1.5. So let's select a place on the worksheet to work, and I say r, type r. Now I don't use the equals button, I use the definition button, which is here on the calculator, and then I can give it the value, type in 1.5. I'm still inside the box, so it only becomes active once I click outside of that box, and now r is equal to 1.5. So we've got exactly what we should have got. Then, once you've defined r to be 1.5, MathCAD can use that in various expressions. So if I'll do it from up here if you like. As long as I know here r has got the value 1.5, underneath it I can say r to the value 2 equals, and it will give me the answer straight away. Sorry, it wasn't very clever. I put it so too close. Hold on. Click outside it first, then click in it and move it. MathCAD, isn't it lovely? Down there. Alright, so from r is 1.5, it now knows that r squared is 2.25. If I want to get rid of this box, I can go inside it. My editing line is still there next to the fire, so I can just select, I was backspacing there, and it makes it go away. So 2 pi r squared, if you want to put that in here, we say 2 times, which you can use the asterisk, and now pi, they give you a keyboard way of doing it, Control-Shift-P, or you can find it on the calculator as you would on any scientific calculator. There's pi times r. I want to get r, 2 pi r, is it? Or 2 pi r squared, 2 pi r. Just checking what we want to say, the circumference, yes. So 2 times pi times r equals, and it works it out straight away, 9.425. Notice we had to put the multiplication signs in. You have to say 2 times pi times r. Altering the value assigned to a variable. If I want to go back to my assignment of r, go back here. Don't mix up their notes with my calculation here. I'll go up to the top. This is where I've assigned the value r equals 1.5. So if I go in there, I click anywhere in that box. Notice the blue line is in front of the 5. So I'll use the right hand arrow to go to the right hand side of the 1.5. If I change that number now by backspacing and change it maybe to 5, then click outside, every calculation involving r will take r to be 5 now. So what's happened? Oh, that's their notes there. Here we are. 2 pi r is 31.416. This is my work. This is their notes when they were talking about the 1.5. Oh, they're now using, what are they using? Yes, 1.5. But if you use 5, you'll get 31.416. And next task, moving on quickly, is read the instructions and then try this task. Click on the right hand side of the definition, and now you're just asking you to I was going to say, we've seen so far when r is assigned the value 5, then 2 pi r comes to 35.416. Notice if I now, after I've assigned the value r is 5, supposing later on, let's give myself plenty of space, and I say r is now defined to be 1.5. Okay. Now if I do that, first of all notice there's a little green squiggle under the r. Now that is nothing to worry about. Basically they're saying, you've already told me that r is 5 and now you're telling me that r is 1.5. So they're basically saying r has already been defined once, you are redefining it. So it's just, that's quite useful if you used a variable r early on in a worksheet, and then maybe 3 pages later on you think, oh, let r equal 7, not realizing that you've used r already as a variable. So that is a reminder that r has already been used. And if we look down now to my calculation 2 pi r, it's gone back from 30 to 9.425 because it's now taking r as 1.5. MathCAD works from the top downwards. So if you have a new value of r lower down than the first value, it takes the new value, the lower value, the one which is lower down the page. Okay. What else do we have? I'll just go through those tasks, and that's talking about the green squiggles that I've just mentioned. And now finally, task number 3. So in task number 3, they have defined r to be 1.5 and they've defined h to be 8. Now enter the expressions for the area and the volume of a cylinder, or the base area. So the base area A is given by pi times r squared. So if I select a point there and I type A, capital A, and then this is a formula. So I'm going to use the colon sign. I'm not calculating at this moment. I'm just writing the formula. So A is equal to pi r squared. Pi, I'll look for it on my calculator. Pi times, which I can do by shift star, or I can use the multiplication sign on the calculator. And r squared, I type r. And then I can use the x squared button, and that raises r to the power 2. Or you could have used the method that we saw in the earlier exercise. So A is pi r squared. Now do the same thing for V. V is the base area times the height. So V, and then I'll use colon to do the definition, is base area A times height. And I click outside the box and you'll see that it appears there. Okay. And now display the value. So now for value A, we know the value of r and h, and we know the formula connecting A and pi and r. So we can now write A equals, not defined, but A equals to work out the actual value of A, and we get that. And same thing here for V. I can type V equals, and it gives me the value of the volume. Notice that if I were to write little v, yes, V equals, now here there's no answer, because lowercase v in MathCAD eyes is different from uppercase v. Okay, so beware of that. They're two different variables.